Hi, welcome back to the Finley Formation. This is Brandon.
This Gage.
And this is Jared.
All right, guys, we are coming down to it. We had a full weekend of football, kind of a full week, I guess. Started on Thursday, had what, 3 games?
Mm-hmm.
3 games Friday, a few games yesterday, and then today's Sunday, had a couple more. So, I mean, we're getting there, man. All preseason stuff, but it's still football. Pretty fun. So, guess it's that time of the year. We're going to start doing our power rankings. I love this part. I love doing this last year. Kind of makes me feel like an analyst. It's pretty awesome. I wasn't too far off last year though. When I look back, I mean, there were some bad ones, right? I mean,
Yeah,
who could have guessed with the Commanders and stuff like that? But
And then the Niners, I think we all had them top
Mhm.
3, and then they fell off to 6 and 10 and finished like
Yeah.
11 or bottom 11th or whatever.
yeah, but I felt pretty good about it, and then the Cowboys had all the injuries too, and I
Yeah.
had them up kind of high, but I still had the Eagles up fairly high. I still, in the top 10 or right around there. Kansas City again, so yeah, I felt pretty good about last year, but
Yeah,
I think we're a little more prepared this year. Gage, last time we just basically decided to start doing this stuff, and we are like, cool, yeah, let's rock a power
Yep.
rankings list.
Yep.
And
Well,
this year, it feels like we've done a lot more with like the teams, the
Right.
draft, free agency. We're pretty into it, and we know not just like who they drafted, but we know a lot more about those kids this year. I feel.
Right.
yeah, about who? Yeah,
I think we kind of understand the depth charts a little bit better, probably,
Mhm.
going
Yeah.
into this season,
Yeah,
which is good. I mean, that's what kind of helped with doing the draft and then the team by team breakdown. You
yeah,
kind of got a little bit of better look of actual like depth chart, second team, third string type of guys.
Right.
So if there are injuries, you know who's coming in, stuff like that.
Yep, I agree. So,
cool.
all right, should we get into it?
Yeah,
All right, you want to start us off, Gage?
yeah. I'll start her off because I
Okay.
see some arguments coming, so I'm getting excited now. So 32, worst team in the league, picking number 1. I got the New Orleans Saints
Saints.
quarterback room. Who knows what the hell's going to go on? I think current starter is Spencer Rattler.
Mhm.
And I think Tyler Shook has worked his way up to QB2. But, I mean, it's just such a big question at quarterback, and they always seem to just lose.
Yeah,
Unless Alvin Kamara pops off or something like that, they always just seem to lose. So I see like a 3-win season for him, maybe even 2.
yeah. I can't argue a lot of what you said. It's pretty dismal there, I think. So
Yeah, I do have the New Orleans Saints at 32 as well. It came down to the same thing. It was like the quarterback room, brand new staff. Kellen Moore is a brand new head coach. I mean, he's kind of a proven offensive coordinator in the league, but never been a head coach. And so,
And we've seen how that turned out with the Jets because Robert Saleh is a proven defensive coordinator.
Right.
Got bumped up.
And then a lot of their defense too. I mean, they still got Demario Davis. They still got Cameron Jordan. This team, like if it was 5 years ago, if they had all these guys on their team 5 years ago, I'd probably feel a little bit different. But these guys are getting old. The guys on offense are just injury prone. Chris Olave finished the season last year in concussion protocol. He didn't finish the season. Rashid Shaheed didn't finish the season. Um, Taysom Hill didn't finish the season. He had a pretty gruesome injury. I do like the Kelvin Banks Jr. pick at left tackle. I think that'll be good for him. But other than that, it's pretty
yeah,
bleak.
yeah. I think just the Wyoming kid, which his name is not for some reason hitting my head right now, but
Granderson?
yeah,
Yeah.
Carl
Yeah.
Granderson.
Yep.
I like him there, but he's their young defensive end.
Mhm.
So no, I don't have them much lower than you guys, so I can't argue that one that much. I could definitely see it. I don't think they're the worst team in my opinion. I think even though their defense seems to be going to be pretty decent, I still think the worst team is in this year so far is the Giants. I think 32.
Yeah, I looked over, saw that, knew this was going to be a fun one.
So I don't know. I mean, even though Jackson Dart I think looked pretty decent in the little bit of showing that we got to see him, I don't think it's hard to judge preseason. Even for rookies, it's hard to say what you're going to get. But yeah, I mean their defense I think is going to be okay. But I honestly I think it's like the Malik Neighbors show, and that's it. I don't know. I don't like what they have. I'm not real happy with anything they really did. What is it? Russell Wilson is there, and he's I think way past his prime. So I'm not real happy with that one.
And Brandon just thinks that every rookie ever just had an insanely overrated rookie year.
Well, I might, yeah, and some of them do, and I just don't get all. I don't know. It's hard for me to get way too excited until you prove it, man. Like anybody can come out and have a good year.
Yeah.
But also, it's not just that too. I think also it's a tough division. I think they're playing in possibly the toughest or the second toughest division, in my opinion. So, yeah, I think they're building in the right direction. I
Mhm.
think with what Abdul Carter, so I
Mhm.
think he's adding into their defense. I think it's gonna be tough, but I think their division's way too tough for them to really crawl out of the cellar of it. So
Okay, fair enough. So we're on to 31.
yes, sir.
This part got the Cleveland Browns. I mean, I prefer Dylan Gabriel out of their whole quarterback room. And even that, it's just not good. They don't have a quarterback where, well, of course, I prefer Joe Flacco, but he's not going to get the start at 32, 33, whatever he is. But, I mean, it's the Browns, man. They're abysmal again. Their offense, they're paying Deshaun way too much money, so they couldn't go crazy in free agency. I don't think they did enough to turn around anything.
So you don't think that even with like their defense isn't good enough to get them a few more wins than like the Giants or the Saints even?
No.
That's why
You keep saying Giants, but like it's going to be a couple minutes before we get to where I have the Giants.
you like them a lot better.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. No, that's
Browns aren't too far behind, but at 31, I had the Tennessee Titans. It was mostly just because of the unknown. We kind of talked about, as high as, the expectations are for Cam Ward, and I think we all kind of liked Cam Ward. Just the last few years, and then the number one overall pick or the number one quarterback taken in each draft has kind of not been that successful. So, I mean, obviously he's kind of going to the worst team. I do kind of like the weapon in Calvin Ridley. I do like the pick in, who was their other pick? I don't remember. Oh, they picked up Kevin Zeitler in free agency. So their offensive line has gotten better. They got Lloyd Cushenberry as center. Peter Skronsky last year was a first round pick. So I think they're approaching it the right way. I like their coordinator or their head coach in Brian Callahan. He's an offensive guy coming from, I think, the Browns. And he's an offensive line coach. So I kind of like that about him. But I think the cupboard's pretty bare still for the Tennessee Titans. So as high as my expectations are for Cam Ward, it has been pretty bleak for first overall quarterback taken. So
yeah. The one thing we usually kind of do is kind of predict a record too, which we didn't do that first time around. So I just saw that. So with the Giants, I had a 3-14 record. I think that's the best. But then I agree with you with the Titans. I really do. I think you're right. I mean, they're getting some pieces together. QB future is still questionable, even if we like the guy. He's still a rookie, and not all rookie QBs that are taken even at one pan out. I do like their defensive line. Simmons is good. I think he's a good solid piece. I think secondary is going to be a question, but I think what's that cornerback who was injured last year coming back?
Snead?
Yeah, Ladarius Snead. I think he's if he comes back and proves that, I think that's another good piece. But that's all they got is just a few pieces. They don't have a full good roster. So I got them going about 3-14 as well.
Cool. So we're on to 30.
Yep.
There's not much argument I can make for that. So 30, this broke out the Jets. I mean, we seen it last year. They were supposed to be really good, and they actually had a quarterback worth the shit. And they were still not very good. And now their starter is
Fields.
Yep. And then if Fields goes down, they got Tyrod Taylor. Like their quarterback room is proven. We know what we got of these guys. It's just not good at all. It's horrible.
I think it's filled with like a bunch of career backups, probably.
Yeah. I think the only bright spot I see is their first, second round pick with our man Bamboo. I mean, I think we're all pretty high on him. And then Mason Taylor, the tight end. So that was their first, second round pick, and I think that's like the only positives this team has going forward. I know they got young Garrett Wilson, but he hasn't been winning them games anyway since Sauce Gardner.
Yeah.
So they got some vets in there, younger vets that are solid pieces for him, but I think it's just, I think they have a couple more years till they actually hit a success point. So I think they're probably going 4-13.
At 30 for me, this is where I have the Cleveland Browns. Other than the quarterback situation, I really like kind of like their skill position players. I like Cedric Tillman. I like Jerry Jeudy, who's the top 5 receiver for Brandon.
Yes,
we're not going to let him live that down. Their offensive line really isn't that bad. It's just they're getting older. Coutinho, their left guard, and then Wyatt Teller, Jack Conklin, they're all getting a little bit older. So, but they're still playing at a decent level. I like David Njoku, and then Harold Fannin Jr. was a 3rd-round pick for them. Tight end. So and then I did like Quinshon Junkins, but I don't know if he's going to play this year or not. foreplay ever. He's the one who got
Yeah, he got in trouble with
yeah
something.
the domestic assault. So
And the guy we all thought was better than him from Ohio State anyway, come out and ran like a 100-yard kick return.
Trayvon Henderson.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. So just the quarterback room puts him that low for me. You got to have good quarterback play to kind of compete, even with what they have. And we talked about it when we did the team breakdown. I really like their defense. I still think Myles Garrett is one of the top defensive players in the league. He just got a fat contract. I like the Schlesinger middle linebacker pick from UCLA.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I-
I thought he was best
Mhm.
best backer in the draft.
I know their
So
back
they
end
got
is
that
still
for
pretty
still.
good. We talked about it a couple episodes ago. Their defense was ranked number 1 just 2 years ago.
Mhm.
They still got a lot of those pieces. They still got Ward, Delp, Newsome in that backfield on the defense. So still expectations aren't that high with me having them at number 30 just because of the quarterback room being so
Well,
unproven.
and if they had a proven run game like they
Mhm.
had with Nick Chubb, I'd feel
Yeah.
higher on them. But because if you have a good run game, then you can
Right.
make up for the quarterback. But they just don't have a proven run game.
Yep. They're going in with Jerome Ford, who's been there for a couple of years, but he's been Chubb's backup, I think, for the last couple
Yeah.
of years.
And
Yeah,
he's
so I think he's solid, but it's just
it's not somebody's going to blow the wheels off. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
gonna, off
Right.
that defense. I agree. For me, this is where I have the Saints, and to be honest with you, these bottom 3 I had. That's why I'm not really arguing a whole lot over those ones because for me, I had the Giants, Titans, Saints, and those ones I could have put, even if it was Saints,
Mhm.
Titans, Giants, whatever, I could have put them all in there. The only reason I think I put the Saints up just a little bit is I do like Alvin Kamara. I think their D line's okay, and they have a decent pass rush. They did okay last year, and I think that it's coming back. But like you said, they're aging. They're
Mhm.
getting older.
Mhm.
But I mean, honestly, I'm not sure why they didn't do it this season, but they're just in need of a total rebuild. They
yeah.
need to keep a few young guys and then just
Yeah, I think they need to move on from Demario. I think they need to move on from Cameron Jordan.
Mhm.
Like it sucks
Yeah.
to have to move on from him because they're guys that are going to end up their Hall of Fame.
Yep.
Their Ring of Honor.
You keep Olave, you keep Banks. I mean, they've drafted Banks.
Shaheed. I
Yeah.
like Rashid.
Yeah.
Yeah, you keep some of those
yeah.
guys, but yeah, you need to really, and they kind of in essence are, I guess, at the quarterback spot 'cause they really don't have anybody now that Derek Carr retired, but they weren't planning on that
But I
either. So
think
that's
they-
what's crazy is it was like you think that they moved on from Carr, but it really wasn't.
Right.
I actually think they prepared for that well drafting Tyler Shook. I think they were hoping to have a development year for him.
Mhm.
I don't think he's going to be some rookie standout.
Yeah,
Right.
but I think that's kind of the point is like I didn't really feel like they had any direction this offseason.
Mhm.
They were all over the place. It was like I don't know,
Mhm.
it was weird. And it seems like that with them, and I think that's been their downfall ever since Drew Brees left. So yeah, I got them at 30, and same record, 3-14 is the best I can see them doing. Maybe sneak out a couple wins in this division that is a little shaky still.
Here's a crazy stat that I didn't realize until just maybe a couple weeks ago. But do you guys realize that Alvin Kamara's never had a 1,000-yard rushing season?
It's injury, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and he catches so many passes. It doesn't make me feel any different about the guy. I think he's one of the top backs still,
Mhm.
the top 15 backs in the league. It's just that stat kind of blew my mind.
Yeah, that
that
is
he's
crazy.
never had a 1,000-yard rushing.
But he's
which is
had
kinda crazy.
all-purpose yards. So
Right.
I thought he was like 1 of 9 people to have the 1,000 rushing, 1,000 receiving seasons.
I don't think so.
But
Let me look that up real quick. I'll get back to you.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess on to 29.
29. I actually really like this team, so I'd love to put them higher. If I had to change favorite teams, I'd probably actually go to them.
If
And it's-
you changed favorite teams?
Yeah, if
Oh,
I had to change favorite teams, I'd probably go to them, and it's the Indianapolis Colts.
okay.
I really like what they got going on with Jonathan Taylor, and I mean the biggest thing is just quarterback room. Right now, they're looking at starting Daniel Jones because Anthony Richardson's hurt again. So
Mhm.
on the current depth charts, that, and even if Anthony starts, it's not that much better
hmm
throwing the ball. He's a bit better on his feet, but I mean their quarterback room is just not great at all.
No. No, and Richardson, yeah, like they're saying he has everything but all the skills except for how to play the position,
Yeah, it's like we make a lot of running back jokes about Lamar Jackson, but Anthony Richardson might be the guy for that
Mhm.
now because Lamar can throw the ball now.
Mhm.
But I mean, they had a great first round pick in Tyler Warren, Michael Pittman's a bright side, and then like I said, Jonathan Taylor. I've always been a fan.
Yeah,
and
that,
then
that was such a huge need for them to get a tight end,
Mhm.
So it didn't surprise me when they went with that. What they get him on, like 11?
Yeah, something
or
like
right
that.
after, or right before the Niners went. So it was
Mhm.
like 12 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then a huge pickup for him was Travarius Ward. It's all big Niners fans. We could
Mhm.
really appreciate Travarius
Heck yeah.
Ward. So
Yeah.
I mean, that was a huge pickup for him. Don't I don't see enough that they. I think they needed a roster revamp in a lot of ways, and they just didn't do it. I think they really needed, even if it was a bunch of old pieces, they needed to bring in
Yeah.
some real big talent to turn the tides, and they just didn't. Got
Yeah.
4 new starters on the roster.
Mhm. Number 29 for me. This is where I have the Giants. I Man, I wanted to put them higher. It's just the whole Russell Wilson. I guess it just depends on when they want to bring in Jackson Dart, because I think I'm a little bit higher on Jackson Dart. I might, if it was me, if you're going to trade up in the first round for a guy, I know he's kind of later first round, but let the guy play. Let him
Mhm.
kind of sling it around and see what you got in him. So maybe after like the first month, maybe first month and a half after week 6, I could see Jackson Dart starting. You might as well. I mean, you're not going to get anything out of Russell Wilson for like future. I mean, he's probably on a 1-year contract.
Yeah.
I do like Malik Neighbors. I had him in my top 10 rankings. Darius Slayton, I kind of like him still. And then Wandale Robertson as a number 3 slot receiver. Andrew Thomas is, I think, in Pro Bowl, All Pro tackle. Other than that, I don't think they have much on the offensive line. And then running back room, Tyron Tracy, Devin Singletary. Our boy Cam Scadaboo probably take over. So that'd be kind of cool to see him kind of take over.
Hopefully, they get a
Right.
little more speed on him though.
Yeah.
Hopefully, by the time he hits that field,
He was
he's
when
down
they
to
were
like 4 or
showing
5.
some of his practice stuff. Seriously, he looked a lot faster
Mhm.
than what
Mhm.
I thought he was.
Right.
So I was actually kind of like,
Well,
maybe
Maybe,
that was
yeah.
my
And
worst critique on him. I
you
guess.
see all the memes about it, all the stuff because he's slower than most backs,
hmm
but he still runs a fucking
Yeah.
4.7.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's still fast as hell.
Yeah.
yeah,
He's still outrunning
and he's stocky
80.
as
He's
hell.
still
He
running
is, yeah.
outrunning 89% of defensive linemen. So you
Right.
might have a couple DN chasing
Yep.
down,
Yeah,
but he's still got enough speed, enough acceleration to hit that second level, and then he'll just run through you. So
Right.
it don't matter.
yeah, he could get you some tough yards. I think now if he develops into a full, every down back, that'd be awesome. But he does seem like a short down back, short gains. So
Except he wasn't in college.
yeah,
Which
no,
he
he
had
he
a
was
bunch of.
receiving, and he had a few games where he really showed a lot of different skills. So
Mhm.
yeah,
The reason I kind of put him a little bit this high, I guess, rather than lower, but um, I'm a firm believer in that defensive front that they're going to have with Abdul Carter, Kayvon Thibodeau, Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence. I think is probably a top 3 at his position at defensive tackle.
Mhm.
And so even if I don't like their back end, they did trade for Javon Holland. I forgot about that. So I kind of like that on the back end. But even if I don't like their back end as much, I think that front 4, front 5 is going to cause enough havoc that kind of
Might be.
keep them in games, make games interesting. I guess.
Well, they're
if
going
the
to have to
offense-
because that offense is going to need a whole lot of
That's
chances
true.
at
Yep.
getting some points on the board. So, in my opinion,
Yep.
Yeah,
at
your
29,
opinion's crazy though. So.
yeah, at 29, I have the Jets here. I think that honestly I like all their skill players. I think they have not all their skill players, but I still think Wilson. Was it Wilson? I mean not or Garrett Wilson.
Garrett Wilson,
Yeah, Brees Hall. I like those guys. I still think that they're still there. I think they can still get it done. They just need to have somebody there to kind of unlock it still. So if Fields can get it to them just a little bit, I think that they're going to be a little bit better than the other teams I have here. I don't know. I think their O line's okay. It's not great. And their defense has been good. I think we kind of talked on these guys a little bit, but they're still not what they used to be. I do like the Malachi Moore pickup at safety. So I think they've improved in some ways, but also just not enough. Armand Membu was a good pickup.
Mhm.
They needed that on the offensive line. And then Mason Taylor at tight end. I like what they got going on there, but not enough to put them any higher than this. I think the best you're going to do is like 5-12, and I mean in that division, they got the Bills and the Patriots are I think coming on a lot stronger than what they are. They've surpassed the Jets, and
Yeah.
maybe even surpassed the Dolphins. But yeah, I think the Jets are going to finish 5-12 and be picking in the top 5 next year.
Sorry, something that's looking a little weird on my list. Where are we at now? 28?
28,
Yep.
sir.
Yeah, this is where I have the Tennessee Titans. A bit higher than I think both of you had them, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
I am a firm believer in Cam Ward, like Jared said, and you heard his in depth, so I won't go super in depth. I mean, I think they got some good backup pieces. That 2 fourth-round wide receivers they picked up. They have Jackson Slater, who might be able to come in, play center with Lloyd Cushenberry being
Mhm.
hurt. But I mean, you're all right. Their O-line's not great at all.
I think you were more high on Cam Ward than either of us. Though,
Yeah,
I think
I mean, I
slightly.
definitely think he's the best quarterback in this class.
I think, yeah,
Most pro
Yeah,
for
ready.
sure. Yeah.
Like I said, I think the only guy I like better than him down the road is Jackson Dart. But I think that as rookies go
Mhm.
in their rookie year, I think he's by far the best.
Yeah.
I think he'll be able to will this team to probably about 5 wins.
Okay, 5 wins for the
I mean,
Titans.
if you pulled up, they have an insane amount of new starters. They're at 3, 4, 5, 6. They have 10 new starters. They have that Xavier Woods safety. That's a good pickup. The Jerry Sneed comes back healthy. Like, there's a couple teams, lower on this list that I said needed a new revamp, even if it's some old people in the Titans did that. So I think they're on the correct path.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, when you play in a division like they play in, that's not as competitive. I don't think is going to be.
Yeah.
Or it hasn't been.
That's
anyway,
true.
That you're kind of hoping to get at least 2 or 3 wins just in the division.
Right. I think
Yep.
they've only had one playoff team from that division for the past 3 years,
Right.
2 or 3 years. It's always the division winner. There's not really
Mhm.
anybody else. So
Right. Moving on to number 28 for me, this is where I have the New England Patriots. As much as I like Drake May, as much as I like the Mike Vrabel, I still think it's going to be kind of a rebuilding year for them.
wow.
I'm still not high on their weapons. Stephon Diggs, we still don't know what we're going to get from him just because he's coming off an ACL. He's getting a little bit older. When he was healthy in Houston last year, I don't remember him ever popping off.
Yeah.
Kind of like what he was in Buffalo.
Didn't have
but
any huge
yeah.
games or anything.
Matt Collins is their wide receiver 2, and then Demario Douglas is their wide receiver 3. So I mean, I don't feel great about that.
Yeah.
I do like Ramonde Stevenson and Trayvon Henderson as their running backs, and then Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper as their tight ends. I think they're both pretty solid. Hunter Henry kind of had a pretty big year, I think, last year. They did a lot on free agency on defense that I really like, but I mean, we've talked about it. Teams that win in free agency usually don't pan out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're getting like Milton Williams. We're going to see how good he is without that Philadelphia defense around him with Jalen playing next to Jalen Carter. He got paid a lot of money. I do like the Harold Landry pick. He's a Tennessee guy with Mike Vrabel, so he knows the system. So I think it's going to be another rebuilding year for them. I do like said I like the Mike Vrabel. I like bringing back Josh Daniels as an OC. I think he's a good OC. I just don't think he's a good head coach. So I think it's just going to take them another year with their first year out being with Drake May and in that system. So
I think you're smoking something.
Yeah. I think you have them a lot lower than what I would. Or, yeah.
I did notice, though, that
Than what I do have them, not what I would.
Second I heard the Patriots mentioned, I was like, going through my list, it's like, holy shit, I have the Cowboys broke down twice.
No, I kind of get what you're saying. I think that when we talked and did the Patriots, that was one thing that we didn't think that they did very well with was the weapons, was receiving.
Yeah.
I think their tight ends. Well, I think you mentioned who they got at tight
Hunter
end.
Henry and Austin
Yeah.
Hooper, yeah.
I think they're okay, and I think the running backs are good. But yeah, they could have done a little better at wide receiver. But I mean, it's crazy. It seems like their special teams, if you just go by that first preseason game where they had a 100-yard
Yeah.
kick return and then another 60-yard kick return, maybe
So-
somebody's figuring out that new kickoff style a little
Right.
bit quicker than the others.
Yeah.
So
I'm a little confused on why you guys are hating on this wide receiver core. I feel like they brought in some good pieces. Of course, if Stephon, he has to keep his head clear and not be a little bitch out there. But they brought in one of the best receivers if he could just keep his head on straight.
Ooh, and Stephon,
Yeah.
yeah, that's just the thing. And honestly, I just haven't seen a good thing from Stephon. Even the last couple of years he was with Buffalo, it seemed like it was a struggle.
Then I think Mac Hollins is a little underrated too. I think he was a good pickup for him.
And he was from Buffalo too, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess Stephon Diggs was 1 year away from Buffalo, but still. All right. Well, at 28, right, that's where we're at.
Yeah.
This is where I had the Browns. So I had them a little bit higher than both of you guys.
Ooh, yeah.
I think that the offense isn't looking great again because of the quarterback situation.
You're high on this defense, though, still. huh?
Yes, I really like the defense a lot,
Mhm.
and I think they're going to do well. I think that I think they're getting a little bit older, but yeah, I think they're going to be probably top 10 defense and points. Could be top 10 defense and points scored if their offense can hold on to the ball a little bit. They're going to be
But
out
they
on
won't
the
be able
field a
to.
lot.
That's why they're only winning 3 games, because their offense.
Right. They're just that. I think they're that good. I like the Mason Graham pickup. I think that they're gonna. I think the only reason I didn't put them even a little bit higher was because of how tough that division is. And if they had a quarterback that I actually believed in this year, even a little bit, I think I probably would have even went in. They might have made my top 20. But as is, I think you got Judy and Joku. I like those guys a
That's
lot.
true. I forgot they have a top 10 receiver.
They do. Yeah, he's going to show you, man. Even with his crappy or quarterback room, he's going to be there. I still like Denzel Ward. I think that dude he's a great cornerback. I can't say enough about the whole defense. And you mentioned the Carson Schlesinger thing. So, but I think a 5-12, maybe 6-11. I kind of went back and forth on their record a little bit. But if they weren't in a tough division, you put this team in the AFC South, and I think they have a chance at winning it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think their offense is bad enough. The possession time every game is going to be 15-45. Your defense can't survive. It's on the field for 45 minutes.
Yeah, they might get a little gas sometimes, but they're going to give them some chances. They might be able to score a little bit even. You never know.
Yeah, Denzel Ward probably could get a couple pick sixes this year, but
yeah,
that's about it. So at 27, and I'm kind of surprised I didn't hear this team's name. I got the Oakland Raiders here at 27.
Ooh.
I was expecting to hear them a bit earlier on, especially with how this first preseason game went, because Aston Genty finished with -2 yards.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think that's his fault because that O-line is still dog shit.
Yeah.
But I'm not high on Geno. I guess you two are higher on Geno than I am.
Mhm.
So that's probably why I have him. Why I didn't hear him earlier. But yeah, I mean, I'm not huge on Geno. I don't think he's going to come in and change this whole offense. And I mean, I think the best piece they have is Ashton Genty moving forward.
I'm really surprised that you have them this low because we were all talking them up pretty good during the Raiders one just not that long ago, and I
Right.
thought for sure I was like, man, I wonder if he's going to have them probably higher than what I have them because we were all pretty high on them.
Yeah.
So I'm actually surprised that you got it that low, but
I just
I agree that first
go back
preseason
into
game
depth, and it's their O-line is just so god awful that
they could not get him. They couldn't move anything.
like
Yeah.
as high as I am on Ashton Genty, he's
Mhm.
not Barry Sanders. That's just
Right.
he's not Barry Sanders, and that's what you need with this offensive line. So,
Right.
I think so. This is how I kind of took it. I don't know if we all kind of took it differently or if we all took it the same. But when I did my power rankings, I didn't necessarily rank them based on how I think they're going to finish. As far as my number one team isn't the team that I think is going to win the Super Bowl.
Just
My number one team is the team that I think has the best roster, best
Right.
coaching
Yeah,
situation,
yeah,
stuff
same-
like
yeah,
that. You know what I
everybody
mean?
was strong.
Kinda
Yeah,
how I
yeah.
put it
Right.
too.
So I didn't know if that was it wasn't a reflection on what Gage thinks they're going to finish.
Well, I thought when we did that, Gage said he thought they were a playoff team.
Right. I think we
So-
were all kind of high. Like we were
Yeah.
like, hey, we like almost all the teams in this division.
Like I said, I did admit I did a little more research and
Yeah.
took back a
Yeah.
little bit because I do. I mean, I
Right.
just don't. Gino's getting older. And
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be able to run away as much as
Yeah.
he's going to need to.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, definitely. I agree with what Jared said too. When we're doing these power rankings, I totally agree that it's not exactly the 16 teams that I might have up there are not necessarily teams that I
Right.
say are definitely going to make the Super
Yeah, I
Bowl
mean,
or the
it's not-
playoffs. So yeah,
the playoff picture will look different.
Right.
It
Yeah.
kind of has to be that way because you're going to have division winners who
Yeah.
are still dog shit. They just won the division. 'cause
Right.
It's
Right.
an easy division. So.
That's true. Okay, moving on to 27 for me. That's where I have the Chicago Bears. I still think, as much as I like Ben Johnson, he's going to be a first-year head coach. The biggest thing that I like that they did this year was bring in Dennis Allen. I was high on Dennis Allen. I think texting you when the Niners were looking for a DC, I was
Mhm.
like, he would have been my first choice. But I'm moved in the direction where I think Robert Saleh was the correct pick. I like him, but staying on with the Bears, it's still the Bears. When we did the team breakdown, team history, it's pretty bleak. So as much as whether you like Caleb Williams or not, it's going to be a first year in a totally different system for him. I think last year, if it didn't ruin him with Matt Eberflus and how many changes they made to that staff in season while he was a rookie,
Mhm.
as much as I like Ben Johnson being there and helping him out, I think it's going to be like a year or two development for him. I like their weapons. I like Rome Odunze. I like DJ Moore. I like their tight end and Colston Loveland that they picked up, Cole Kmet as a backup. Where I kind of get pause is their tackles. I know they kind of revamped their interior offensive line with Tooney, Dolman, and Jackson.
Mhm.
Jackson kind of gives me pause because LA Rams forked over a lot of money for him last year, and he didn't even play for him
Yeah.
when he was healthy. He still didn't play. So that kind of gives me a little bit of pause. But Braxton Jones and Darnell Wright aren't the best tackles. I think they kind of proved that last year. So hopefully Caleb Williams won't be scrambling for his life. So
Yeah.
as much as I like the new regime there in Chicago,
Yeah.
it's going to be a year or two down the road. So
Yeah.
I have a good bit higher
Yeah.
just because, I mean, even last year, they almost could have made the playoffs if they had clock management worth of shit.
Yeah.
Like that was the biggest,
yep.
their biggest thing was clock management. And then, of course, they,
I mean, what they
Not very
ended on
disciplined,
such a
but-
bad streak though, where it
Mhm.
was what, like 8 in a row,
Yeah.
9 in a row, something like
clock
that.
management was bad. And then they
Yeah.
were, I don't know how you make it to the NFL level and not be disciplined enough
Right.
to not go
Mhm.
talk crap to the crowd and instead play ball.
Right, right. Yeah, so at 27, this is where, and I'm probably surprised Gage here. This is actually where I have the Jaguars. There's just so many questions. Like if Lawrence can play and step up and actually earn his contract that he has, I mean, they could be a good team. I don't think that they have great weapons necessarily for him there, but and we'll see about Travis Hunter. I mean, maybe he comes out and he can be that, like unicorn that everybody thinks he's going to be, but I don't know. I'm not real high on that either, to be honest with you. I just think, it's one of those teams where it could be like, I mean, they could be a playoff team because of their division and their defense seems to be getting a little better, but yeah, I don't know, man. I still think Jaguars 6-11.
We
where I
got to
got
give
them.
a shout out to the Wyoming boys that are there. We got Chad
Yeah.
Numa and one other, don't we?
Andrew
Yeah,
Wingard.
Yeah,
Wingard,
we
yep.
got, so yeah, we got 2 Cowboys boys there. So
Yep.
that's the only reason their defense looks competitive
Yeah.
because Cowboys know how to play D. All right, so 26 now.
Yep.
This is where I got the New York Giants.
Oh, wow.
All
Yeah,
right.
I forgot that we hadn't all had them yet.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I didn't put him higher is because I think Jackson Dart does have some development to do. I think he's a pretty raw talent, just like
Mhm.
the way Josh Allen came in. I think he's a pretty raw talent. I do, like Jared was saying, like a month. I think week 6 would be perfect. Well, week 7 would be the perfect starting week
Yeah.
for him. I think they need to slide him in there, and if that's what they do, I do think they'll be able to pull in 6 or 7 wins this year.
Yeah. Moving on to 26 for me, that's where I have the Carolina Panthers. I'm still kind of a little hesitant on Bryce Young. I know he kind of did a little bit better the second half of the year after he got benched and came back in. So I kind of need him to prove it. I like Chuba Hubbard as a running back. I like the Tet McMillan pickup. They still got Xavier Legette that they got last year. It's just their defense, not a whole lot of returning starters. They did a lot in free agency. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 starters penciled in on our lads as starters that they picked up in free agency. So it's kind of a revamp for them on defense. So I can still, even though I'm like, the second half of the year was pretty positive for them on how they finished.
It's going to be the same way this year. I think.
They start off slow and kind of.
Did you watch or see anything on the Panthers preseason game?
I didn't know.
Xavier Legette is going to miss lots of games
Is he?
this year.
Oh my
He
god.
threw 3 punches,
Oh, did he?
so
Oh,
he's going to get
jeez.
suspended. He's
Yeah.
going to miss.
I did
What is
see
that? That's
all
probably
of
going to
them.
be 4 to 8 weeks suspension
Oh,
for him.
jeez. Yeah.
So they are going to lose. Who's probably coming in as their wide receiver 1
Tet.
because of.
Yeah.
So you're going to have Ted Arroyo, but now you
Right.
have your rookie who will be his first however many games of the
Yeah.
season where he has to play wide receiver 1 to go against best corner
Right.
on every NFL team until Xavier Legette can come
Yep.
back.
Okay, where are we at? 26?
26.
All right, 26. This is where I have the Colts. I like the running game. I actually like the defense. You talked about Travaris Ward. I think they did some good things there. But man, that QB room is just terrible.
Mm.
But
I
name I
don't-
forgot to mention was Latu. This is his breakout season,
Oh,
man.
Yeah.
I forgot about him.
We're seeing 10 sacks from him.
Yeah.
If they can get either of them quarterbacks to play well, and neither of them I don't think have much of a chance to. In fact, I would probably go with Daniel Jones at this point than Anthony Richardson. I know they invested highly in Richardson
You
with
can have
the
a hell
third
of a
overall
wildcat
pick.
with Richardson, though.
So yeah, that's true. I mean, put him out there as another weapon somewhere, maybe. But I mean, the dude just is not getting it done. You see all that stuff, like pretty elementary stuff, like from what I understand, you throw into the blitz. You know what I mean? You throw where the blitz comes from, stuff like that. He just can't figure that shit out. So he's always taking shots. He's throwing into coverage. Yeah, I'm not a fan of his. I don't like but if they do get that going, they are a playoff team, especially in that division. I think they could run for it if they have a good quarterback. I think their roster, other than the quarterback spot, is just as strong as the Texans. Well, Texans
I
probably got a little bit better defense, but I like what they got going on
I
there.
don't like that take because you're guaranteed to have Jonathan Taylor miss 4 games.
Well, that's
So
true.
even if you
Injury.
will a quarterback to be
Same with Joe
a game
Mixon, though.
manager,
Joe Mixon can't really stay on the field all the time either. So
yeah, I
but
know. I
no.
just think Jonathan Taylor is what's going to will this team to win, and
Mhm.
they're going to lose
Yeah.
4 or
I
5
know.
because it's going to be sitting
Right.
out.
If
4 or
they had a
5.
quarterback, he wouldn't have to.
That's
But
true.
I
Yeah.
don't think they do, and that's why I have him at 26.
Yeah.
So I would have him higher if they had a quarterback, though.
Yeah. Okay, 25. This is where I got the Panthers.
I got him going 6-11. I don't know if I said
6
that.
and 11.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this is where I got the Panthers at 25. Feel like this was a good spot for him. You're not confident in Bryce Young yet, and I think Bryce Young's a dog. I think he's going to get the job done. I think he is their franchise guy if they can get his confidence to keep growing.
hmm
I do think it's more of a coaching staff problem with him. It's he needs to build his confidence, and they just ran him into the ground and being on such a terrible team.
Yeah.
I do think he can end up being a franchise guy for them, and I think he will be. I think he's got the skill set for it. I think he just needs to get his confidence going. And now, once Xavier Legette gets back, they got Xavier Legette and Roy McMillan.
Yeah.
I think they'll be cooking on offense.
Yeah, I really hope that works out because they went pretty high with that pick, and there was a lot of players there. So I
And
was
he
actually
the best pick.
He might have been. We'll
was.
find out, dude. I mean,
No,
we'll find out. And
No, we'll find out.
considering they were last on defense, there was still pretty much almost every defensive player, but what, 2 at that point. So we're
but
going
Ted
to find out.
Roy is going to be the next Calvin Johnson. So
If he
Ooh.
does,
you see
then that's
Calvin
worth it,
Johnson
but
coming, you're not going to go pick some random defensive guy because Calvin Johnson's there.
we're going to find out, man. I hope it does work out for him. I thought that was.
I mean, he's
good.
what 6'5", ran a 4.38. It's Calvin Johnson, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, a lot of people didn't even have him that high as a wide receiver.
Yeah, and a lot of
so.
people had Shadeur going number 1. Are we going to take what a lot of people say is a good thing? Like,
I think I like that with Ted McMillan because I think it's proven the last at least 2 or 3 years where if you're a rookie and even if you're on a bad team with a bad quarterback, I'm not saying that about Bryce Young. I kind of like I said, I liked how he finished the second half of the year.
yeah,
But rookie wide receivers seem to be the
It seems to be
easiest.
working.
Yeah, seems to
Yeah.
be the easiest position to kind of excel as
well,
a
it's
rookie.
just it's been the last 10, 15 years that if you were good at like wide receiver just translates
Right.
the best. It
Yep.
just it seems to always be that way. Every
Mhm.
year you have your best wide receiver in college,
Yep.
and they come out and they're top 10 caliber receiver, and I don't know why it just seems to translate the best.
Yeah, like I said, I hope it works for him. I really do because I like this team. I think they're doing good. It just surprised me when they come up and shot for that dude.
Yeah.
When it came to them and they were like wide receiver, I was like, whoa, okay,
Yeah.
So
And I think Xavier Legette doesn't have that. In Madden terms, I don't think he has that X factor. I think he'll be a star in the league.
Yeah.
I just don't think he's going to take over games, and I think Ted Roy will have that
Mm-hmm. I think so.
ability.
25 for me. This is where I had the Colts, so just one spot ahead of what Brandon had them. I like it's all the same reasons. I won't get into in depth. I mean, if you're going out there with Daniel Jones as your starter, you're going out there with Anthony Richardson as your starter. It's pretty bleak.
mhm.
Who's their QB3? Do they have
Riley
a
Leonard.
undrafted guy? Who?
Riley
Oh, yeah,
Leonard,
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame guy.
Mhm.
Okay, so they
I-
got somewhat of a future to look for if they can
A little
develop in
bit,
the
yeah.
correct way.
He didn't
but-
look too bad. He got some reps in that preseason game. He actually didn't look too bad, but
Yeah, they could. He's pretty much any quarterback who played at the college level, if you develop him right, could
Right.
become a stud.
yeah.
I definitely think he's one of those guys. So
I like all their skill position players. I like Pittman Jr. I like Pierce. I like Downs.
Yeah,
I like
Joshua
Jonathan
Downs.
Yeah. I like Jonathan Taylor if he can stay healthy, which he hasn't proven he can, or if he's not dropping the ball before he's crossing the end zone.
yeah,
And then Tyler, I like the Tyler Warren pick. So I mean the weapons are there for whoever's going to be quarterback. I just don't have confidence in the quarterback giving
Yeah.
the ball. And then defensively, I like the pieces that they have. I like Latu. I like DeForest Buckner still playing at a high level. They did pick up Javarius Ward and Cam Bynum for that secondary. So, and then they did get Lou Amarillo as their defensive coordinator, who I mean he's kind of proven that he can be a decent defensive coordinator with the Cincinnati Bengals when half of his team's not hurt. So if they can kind of stay healthy and they're more of a seasoned defense, he can probably have them playing pretty good. And then they don't play in that tough of a division. I think your take on Houston not having a top tier defense is kind of crazy. I think Houston.
No, I said
does.
they do. Oh, I said.
Man,
I said they do. I said I
thought
like
you
their
were comparing-
defense better.
Oh, I thought you were
Yeah.
comparing the Colts defense with the
No,
Houston Texans
no.
defense.
I said
thought
I
you were
actually like
crazy.
their defense better,
Okay,
but
phew.
yeah, no.
I thought that was going to be a crazy take.
No,
right
I
there.
think it was more just like if
I
you
thought
look
you
at
just
it.
compared the whole teams instead they're on.
Well, I
like
did,
the
but
same
then I
level.
said actually I like the Texans
Oh,
defense
okay.
a little better.
Okay, I heard that wrong. then.
But where I was more looking at, to be honest with you, is the offensive line.
I don't
Yeah.
think it's that hard of
And-
a take to say the Colts have a better defense though, especially
Oh,
with especially with
man.
Travarius Ford and Cam Bynum.
I think Texans have probably a top 5 defense, in my opinion.
Too Will Anderson. That's like their biggest piece right now.
well, they got.
And I'm not necessarily going to take Will Anderson over Latu yet.
Who's that defensive back? Stingley. Stingley.
Yeah,
He's one of the
Derek
top
Stingley
tier
And I'd
Jr.
take Travarius Ford over Stingley.
No
Would you really?
way,
Hell
man.
yeah.
I think you're crazy.
Yeah, but I think that if you put it together, I mean, I think the offensive line's better. I think I actually kind of like, I like the running back room better for the Colts if they stay healthy. I like that, but no, I didn't say that. I do
Okay,
think
I
that the
heard you
Texans
wrong.
defense is a little better in my opinion. But I see what you're saying too. I
Yeah.
like them both, but I do think the
Mm-hmm.
Texans. I don't know if it's scheme or whatever, but they get to that damn quarterback though when everybody's healthy.
Well, they
So,
got
Yeah.
a good head coach who's the
mhm.
top defensive coordinator.
Nico
in the league.
Ryans?
Yeah.
Heck yeah. All right, at 25, actually, that's where I have the Panthers as well. Gage, I think we're on the same page there. I think it's going to be a big jump for them this year. Would they win 4 games last year?
Yeah, I think we're looking
4.
at 7 or 8.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I've got them. And it's funny because I started doing all my wins. I was like, where are all these wins going to come from? Because I think, the team that was probably 25th probably got like 6 wins or something. But I do. And what's bad is I think that they could probably push for a playoff spot, but only because of the division. I mean, honestly, I look at this division and I like the Bucks and I like what they do and everything, but I mean, there's a chance they could win the division at 9-8.
I think
You
they
know
can.
what I'm
I think
saying?
they can
So-
split the Bucks, and I think they will sweep the Saints,
Mhm.
And the Falcons, I think, are
and I think they could sweep the Falcons. Too.
yeah, I think the Falcons are kind of a wild card team for me because they don't get to the quarterback. They don't, all the things that the Panthers were letting teams do to them. I think the Falcons can't do,
Yeah.
and I don't think they got good enough on defense. So I think if they were in a different division, I would probably I think a lot of it's division too, and I probably might have them a little bit better. But if you're just going by paper, still I think that they improved a lot. I really do. And
Oh,
you
yeah,
mentioned
they
how
have.
heavy they went on defense. They needed it.
Mhm.
They needed to because they were last in defensive points.
Yeah.
I think they gave up it was just over 31 points per game last season.
Yeah.
And that's
it was
crazy.
But they
That's
did.
insane.
They did have a really good revamp. I really like what they got going there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and I like their defensive guys they brought in too. So I mean they didn't just rely on that, but they did on the draft. But they did get some guys in the draft that looked, Ransom, sorry, Nick Scorton. I think you mentioned Princely Human all those guys. I think we had talked about them during our draft stuff at one point in
Yeah,
time.
and I think they're good
Mhm.
fits there, especially.
I think so, too.
I think the person I'm looking for the Panthers for their draft is Nick Scorton. I think
Mhm.
he'll be a really good fit there, and I
Yeah.
think he'll do good work there.
So yeah, if they keep improving like that, and if Bryce Young, because you're not wrong there, if he can continue growth, and we talked about that, if they can do that, they'll be fighting for that division for a while. So
Yeah. Here at 24, this is where I got the Jaguars. And this is throwing me through a
Ooh.
loop. Can't believe Brandon had the Jaguars lower than me.
God,
I
what did
mean-
I have them last year in like 9?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I had them high.
Yeah, he
It was one of my big misses.
He didn't really fall down on Trevor Lawrence until after this year.
Yeah, I
I'm-
finally lost my boner.
I'm-
Took a couple years, but you got
Yeah.
rid of it.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I've liked of Trevor Lawrence since he's been in the league is his long, luscious locks.
That's all he's got going for him now.
geez.
Yeah, that's all he's got going for him. He's still not prettier than Jimmy Garoppolo, though, so he's
Mhm.
not even the best at that.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I do think Travis Hunter was a good pickup. As much as I
I
hate
like
on him, I do think he's a good piece there.
Mhm.
I think he's competitive on either side of the ball. I don't think he's the best at either, and I don't think he's good enough to play both.
Right.
It's not even really a knock on him. I just think it's physically impossible to
Mhm.
not to have enough endurance to play good ball on both sides of the ball.
I agree.
Mhm.
I don't have him much lower. I guess it's just one spot lower, so I'll talk to him next time. But at 24 for me, I have the Arizona Cardinals. I like what they did on defense, just to kind of continue the trend with the Philadelphia Eagle defensive players going somewhere else and not really. So Josh Sweat kind of has to prove it to me. I do like they brought back Calais Campbell, seems like he's like an ageless wonder. He's still playing sort of at a high level for as old as he is. He's big as hell. I think he's like 6'7", 6'8".
Yeah, I think that's
Big
biggest
interior guy.
biggest racing still in the league is
Yeah.
6'7", 350. So yeah, they pull him off the field.
The one thing
Yeah.
that kind of gave me pause was just they didn't do anything with their offense, and we talked about it when we did like the team breakdown. Is just they did not add anybody to their offense when we all were kind of high on Trey McBride on the tight end episode. I'm pretty sure. I like him. It's just he doesn't get the touches in the red zone. I think we kind of confirmed or kind of speculated that to our Kyler Murray being so short.
Yep.
Can't see. James Conner's getting a little bit older. I still like him as a running back. He gets the yards, and I think they have a good run game. It's just they're so up and down offensively. Like one week they can go out and score like 30, 35 points, and the next week they're kind of laying an egg. It's just, and then not to add to it. So I think they're just kind of hoping Marvin Harrison Jr. takes that next step. It's just that's what kind of gave me pause. So, and to me, I don't know if this is a hot take. I think they might have got the steal in the draft with Will Johnson
Yep.
in the second round. I
If
think
he's healthy.
I think he's been kind of balling out in the preseason. It's just like, dang,
Yep.
I wanted that for the Niners so bad. So
Dude,
Yeah.
yeah, I can't believe Will Johnson fell.
I
I
know.
think he is by
Crazy.
far the best defensive
Yeah.
back in this year's
Yeah.
draft.
It's funny how many players you've seen teams take a chance on with an injury,
Mhm.
but then this guy fell. Like he was a stud in college when you look
Yeah.
at what he did.
Well, you even
So-
seen a offensive tackle with a lower leg injury get drafted before
For him,
a
Mhm.
cornerback with a leg
Yep.
injury. It's like, how does that
Crazy.
make any sense?
right?
Crazy.
Right.
But all signs are pointing that he's healthy and he's playing well for them. So kudos on them for taking a chance on him in the second round,
They got him
letting him
cheap.
fall. Yeah.
Considering I think when he first come out, it was even before the season,
Mm-hmm.
the 2024 season started, he was considered a top 10.
He was. Yep.
So
Yeah, he's a top 10 talent.
and they got him in the second round.
round.
It wasn't
Yeah.
even early in the second round, I don't
Yeah, it was
think.
mid-table second round, I
Yeah.
think.
Right.
So I have the Cards a little bit higher, but so I'll talk about them a little bit more too. But at 24, I have the Falcons. I don't know what it is about this team. I think it's just because their defense could not get to the quarterback last year. I know they have good pieces there, and I'm not. I like Drake London. I like some of the guys they have there. I really like Bijan Robinson. Right? I mean, they've
Mhm.
got the pieces, but I just Kirk Cousins looked like shit last year, and I mean he just could not. Like he had a couple of good games, but other than that, what he went on like a terrible streak, of like 4 or 5 games when they brought in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Old Michael
Mhm.
Penix, and he's still young. And I thought that he only looked okay. I don't think he looked as good as some of the other rookie quarterbacks, even when they brought him in. So, yeah, that's the only reason I don't have them higher. Now, I do know that if they get a quarterback play, they have these pieces around them that they could end up finishing a lot higher than what I have them on here. But I think I'm not real sold on them yet.
And you have the Falcons.
Yep.
I think the only reason I look forward to them is because of Drake London.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mhm.
you said, he does that. They do have the pieces, but you done talk about them?
Yeah,
Didn't
go
wanna
ahead,
cut
man.
you off.
Yep.
Yeah. They're 23. We have actually, I found out recently, we have 2 fans of this team that listen to the podcast.
Really?
So it's Brian Mahanovich and then Kel Brady. At 23,
The
this is where I have the
Dolphins?
Dolphins.
We got 2 Dolphin fans. Holy cow!
Got 2 Dolphins.
Dang.
Yeah,
Drop
this
my stuff.
uh,
The one guy I did want to mention that I couldn't think of was Darnell Mooney too for the Falcons.
Okay,
So I
yeah.
just want to
Oh,
throw
yeah.
that out there.
Yeah, so I mean the Dolphins, their biggest issue is still QB play. It's
Mhm.
just it's going to be questionable as long as it's Tua because although he's got the skill to win in games, he's just always in concussion protocol. He can't win games from the blue tent.
That's
It
true.
just
Yeah.
it's impossible. So
And we see
I wanted
like
to put him
the-
higher because I do still believe in Tyreek. He's not
Right.
the old Tyreek, but he's still Tyreek Hill.
Mhm.
They have so much speed on this roster
Yeah.
that I mean they should just be able to blow past everybody, but it requires Tua to stay healthy.
Right.
So I think we did their team breakdown before the Waller trade,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yep.
how Fitzpatrick, Minka,
Yeah,
who went there?
Minka.
Yeah. So what do you? I mean, do you think that hurts this team or helps this team?
Significantly.
Or
I
it wasn't
think
Darren Waller. I mean, Johnny
Johnny
Smith.
Smith. If they still had Johnny Smith, I would have him top 20.
Yeah.
You like it better with Johnny rather
Yes,
than
I
getting the
think
safety. Yeah.
I think Minka is a great pickup for him. Big
Mhm.
need, but I think they just gave up too much with Johnny. They gave up top 10 tight end for a top 15 safety. Like I probably have him 13
Yeah.
nowadays. Whereas Johnny was the top.
Yeah.
I think we all had him top 8.
I
So it's
think I
like
think even if you had Minka, I know they needed secondary help too, but even if you had Minka Fitzpatrick in your top 5, the defense wasn't like I don't think it was their main issue. I think it was the fact that they couldn't get anything downfield last year.
I
You
would have
know,
felt
and
better.
Johnny Smith was their only bright spot on
Yeah.
offense. I really feel like
Mhm.
you
I
know
would
all
have felt
season
better
it was
about this
ugly.
trade. I would have felt better about this trade if they gave up Tua for Minka. I would have felt better about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, now they have Quinn Ewers, which I know for some reason fell off of the face of the planet and
Right.
ended up a 7-round draft pick. But I still believe in that guy.
Yeah.
I think if Tua goes down, I think they are in good hands this year with Quinn instead of definitely
Right.
better than Skylar Thompson.
Yes.
Yeah, and when we did our running back list, A-Chain was high on all our
Mhm.
lists, but he's one of those guys that you really can't count on to be out there the whole time either.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
But-
just I think, like I said, they just built this whole roster on speed. On A-Chain, one of the fastest backs in the
Right.
game, Tyreek Hill. They had Raheem Mostert back there. I don't
Jalen
know.
Waddles, he's got
Yeah.
speed.
Jalen
Even though he
Waddles
played
fast.
like crap last year.
Yeah,
So terrible.
the whole team is built on speed, which found out last year. You cannot build a team just on speed.
Right.
Mhm.
They tried to do some mad stuff and it didn't work. But I mean, yeah, I think honestly they might be in better hands after Tua goes down and Quinn comes in. Because
Mhm.
I do really like Quinn Ewers. So,
Yeah.
23 from me. This is where I have the Jaguars, so not too far from where you have the Jaguars, I believe.
yeah, I had him at 24.
24, so just one spot ahead. They did make changes to their offensive line that I think will help. They picked up Robert Hainsey from Tampa Bay and then Patrick McCarry from Baltimore. I do like Travis Etienne Jr. still in, and I like Tank Bigsby
Mhm.
that they have at the running back position. Brian Thomas Jr. I think we were all high on him during our wide receiver episode. Travis Hunter, I think, will be good as not being the primary target. I think he'll be good as like the second or third receiver. They did get De'Ami Brown from Washington to be a receiver too. So I think they're making the right changes. I think they made the right change with the coach, Liam Cohen, coming in as a first-year head coach. So what he did with Baker Mayfield threw for 40 touchdowns last year and over 4,000 yards. So if he can kind of replicate that type of offense, I understand it's not the same skill set and probably the same offensive line, but bringing just a new offensive identity to this offense with what they kind of have, hopefully can kind of take them over the edge a little bit with the division that they play in, that they can kind of win a couple more games. And I still like Trayvon Walker and Josh Hines Allen. They got Eric Armstead as the defense. So
Yeah, it seems like they got
They-
pieces, but
they
it's
do,
hard
yeah.
to just like, you know, 'cause for one, I mean,
Right.
they're so up and down with whatever they're doing.
mhm.
But that's a good take with the coach. I guess when I actually did my power rankings, I didn't really think about that. I might have had him a position higher, but still,
Yeah.
yeah, I like that take with the coach though.
Yeah.
Did I cut you off?
No, you're good. I
Okay.
was done. I
Okay.
think we've talked about the Jaguars enough.
Yeah. All right. At 23, I have the Cardinals. Like I said, I think you guys had them around that same area. You had them at 24. You haven't had them yet.
No,
Okay.
no,
Okay.
I got him a
Um,
good bit higher.
A little bit
actually.
higher. Okay.
Alright, yeah.
Yeah, I think it just like what you kind of mentioned. We talked about that. They need to get their passing game figured out. It's inconsistent. They're not getting enough touchdowns. It's Trey McBride. That was definitely something we saw there. And I think if they don't get it figured out this year with Kyler Murray, I think it's time to move on.
Mhm.
You know,
I think
mean,
it's been time to move on.
yeah. So I mean, they have a good roster, and I think they're getting better on defense. Which you know, I thought they drafted well there. Like we talked about Will Johnson, that was a huge pickup. Cody Simon, I like him. I think he was the kid out of Ohio State.
Yeah.
Is that who it was? Yeah, I really liked him. We talked about him a little bit, and then Denzel Burke. So I think they got really good on defense. Good players. They got a lot of good pieces, but I agree. I think their offense is just not gonna. I don't know unless you get Marvin Harrison going. They didn't do very well.
That's why I have him higher. I do think Maserati Marv is going to
He
kick
take
things off
off,
this
yeah.
year.
Good.
Well, if he even resembles somewhat of what he was in college, it's going to be great. But
If
last
he-
year, it didn't really show.
This might be a bit of a reach, but I do think in college it looked like he was going to get there. If he could have as good as his dad, he's going to be one of the best in the league.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So I got him going 7-10, missing the playoffs. Not to mention they're in a strong division too. So
Yeah.
well, I guess there's two really strong teams in that division, in my opinion. So
So
yeah,
we're on 22 now.
yes, sir.
This is where I got the Atlanta Falcons. I do, of course, there's a question mark with Michael Penix because we haven't seen a lot of it, but I do think he could be a guy there. I think he could be really talented. And as much as Kirk was very inconsistent, I do think Michael Penix probably learned a lot. Because
Yeah.
Kirk's never really seemed like that type of guy to just completely forget about the young guys. I feel like he's pretty good about coaching them up
Yeah.
and helping them out. And he's been in the league long enough to teach some young guys stuff.
Yeah, I think he had issues when they drafted him.
Mhm.
I hope it didn't carry over to when he actually showed
Yeah.
up, because I
Yeah.
know he was upset when they drafted a
Yeah,
quarterback.
they're like, you guys
so-
just signed me to a big deal and drafted. But I think I would hope at least that he bought in and was like, yeah, okay, you guys are getting. I'm old. Yeah. I
Yeah.
would hope he realized that he's old.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
we knew going to be Denny. You could learn from watching him too. But
Mhm.
Mhm.
I do think Michael Penix could become that guy, especially with a top 10 receiver, Drake London. I think he's one of the best route runners in the game.
Yeah, I think he's got the pieces. We'll just see what happens with
Right.
how he develops. So yeah,
Yeah, I think they're
fair
middle
enough.
of the pack team this year.
22 for me. This is where I have the Seattle Seahawks. I think they downgraded at quarterback. I think I don't know. I guess a Cooper Cup for DK Metcalf. I know it wasn't a 1-for-1 trade, but I'd almost kind of prefer at this stage in the game probably DK Metcalf. Still in that type of offense. So that moves Jackson Smith and Jigba to your number one wide receiver. So we'll see how he does. I was really high on him,
Mhm.
but now he's kind of playing a little bit different role. Like I said, I think it's a downgrade going from Geno to Sam Darnold. They didn't really. I know they drafted Gray Zabel. I know Gage wasn't high on him, but I still think their offensive line is probably one of the worst, at least the worst in the division. They couldn't hardly protect Geno Smith, and then now you got like a less athletic quarterback, I think, in Sam Darnold, and a less of a quarterback in Sam Darnold. So I think that's what holds them back. What holds them so high is probably their defense. Second half of the year, I think they were one of the top defenses, I think, statistically. So they return a lot of their guys. Leonard Williams is a dude on that defensive front. And then I think just having Mike McDonald as your head coach, defensive coordinator, I think they kind of figured it out that second half of the year to where they're just giving a lot of teams fits. So you might see a lot of low scoring games with the Seahawks this year.
Yeah, I totally agree. This is where I have the Seahawks as well at 22. I had them a bit higher at first, and I was like, no, I can't put them that much higher because I totally agree. It's the offensive line and Sam Darnold. I don't know if he's for reals yet.
Right.
It could have just been like Gage was saying too, how good the Vikings offense really was.
Yeah.
Around him. So it could be that, and even if he's a top 10, top 15, he's still a downgrade from Geno. So I totally agree with pretty much everything you said. I can't really add a whole lot more. I do like their defense a lot, and I think they showed how well this defense and the scheme is, even when they're playing vanilla
Mm-hmm.
in the preseason. They were still able to get to the quarterback.
Yeah.
So
Cool. Well, let's just keep it going with the Seahawks because I
All
have
right.
21.
Nice.
okay,
So we're
Okay.
all pretty much on the same page as the
Yeah.
Seahawks. I think biggest thing that I guess moves them up one spot for me is I'm actually I guess it's lower on Geno. That I don't think Sam Darnold was that good. I do think he was I think he was benefiting from the system over in Minnesota a lot, but I also think Geno was benefiting from DK and JSN. I think
Yeah.
they're probably a top 5 wide receiver duo in the league
Mm-hmm.
with DK and JSN, and now they bring in Cooper Cup, and I actually like that pickup a lot for him. I think it might be better than DK just because, like in a 1 or 2 season. In the short term, I think it's better.
Yeah.
In the long term, it would have been better to keep DK. But I think I like Cooper more, mainly because he's not going to get you unnecessary roughness calls. He's not going to toss you 15 yards twice a game.
His skill set's probably better for Sam Darnold than DK probably would have been because DK is more of your deep in breaker, deep kind of route runner.
Yeah,
So with this offensive line not being good, you probably want a guy who's just going to get you a quick possession, right at the sticks.
yeah, you'll get slant, you'll
Then
get in
hopefully
routes,
get
you'll
some yak.
Yeah.
hmm And then, yeah, like I said, I mean, I think the biggest thing that I really don't like about what they did this offseason is Gray Sable in the first round. Like, I know line tends to translate pretty well,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, if you weren't good enough to compete with FBS players, you're not going to compete in the NFL. I think he could develop maybe here in the next 3 or 4 years in an NFL coaching system. Maybe
Mhm.
he'll be able to do good because he does have the intangibles. And
Yeah.
he's a big guy, so I think he could get there. I just think he probably is a little behind on the skill set.
Yeah. 21 for me, I believe that's where we're at, is the Miami Dolphins. Um, I don't, I, I wanted to put them higher just because I'm still high on Tyreek. I'm high on Jalen. I'm high on Devon, Achan. I'm not high on Tua. Tua's like a very specific skill set. I like Mike McDaniel as their head coach, or McDaniel. But we kind of talked about it. I think their offense is so predicated on speed that I think the first half of the year they always kind of surprise teams about what they're doing, and you always see them always at the second half of the year kind of die off, or when they get in the playoffs they can't do anything, and so that kind of gives me pause. They had their left tackle, I can't remember who it was, but he retired right at the end of, or
out
right
of nowhere. Yeah.
so that kind of hurts them. I don't think they had a very good offensive line to begin with, so that kind of puts a little bit more pressure on Tua to stay healthy. Defensively, I like the pick with Minka, but yeah, I mean you're kind of swapping Minka for Jalen Ramsey for the most part. I know we
Mhm.
talked about Darren Waller. I don't like that
Or
pick at
Johnny
all.
Smith.
Jonnu.
Yeah, Jonnu Smith. So Darren Waller and Jonnu Smith, I think that's a huge downgrade, like Gage was saying.
Yeah, and they brought him out of retirement for
Right.
a guy who didn't even want to play football.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
you know why they did it? Because Darren Waller was a hell of a lot faster.
Then Jonnu.
That's
Speed.
why they
That's
brought in
what they
Darren.
wanted
is
was
because
speed. That makes sense. Yeah.
Darren was known
didn't-
for
I
his
never
speed
thought
when he
about
was
that.
in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I think he was drafted at like a 4.5,
Mhm.
which is pretty damn good for a 250-pound tight end.
Yeah.
No, and all Johnny did was catch 8 touchdowns for him last year.
Yeah.
So
But
why
they-
would they want him to do that?
Yeah.
that whole trade Jonnu and picking up
It's
Darren
crazy.
Waller was
Yeah.
again buying into the speed thing that doesn't
Yeah.
work.
Right.
Yeah, they need some guy like Johnny in there who can get those tough catches and
Yeah.
big bodied dude.
Yeah, what's next? They're
He
gonna
was good in the
move a
red
tight end to
zone,
left
man.
tackle because he's faster. Like,
Yeah,
where are the Dolphins going here?
Yep.
yeah. So at 21, that's where I also have the Dolphins. That's why I kind of just threw my hat in there too,
Mhm.
and for all the reasons you guys have been talking about. I think it is funny that their tackle kind of retired after they were like, we're gonna draft interior lineman,
Yeah.
and then that guy he's out of there. I
Yeah.
like their pickup though. I like Jonah.
I do like
I
that. Yeah.
I think honestly, when you're talking Grady Zabel or that dude, maybe that dude should have been the Seattle pick. That Jonas Noea, however
Yeah.
you want to pronounce
Mhm.
that. But he's a guard. He's big. He might even.
Big ol' Samoan, ain't he?
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
probably
Mhm.
better.
From Arizona, I
more
think,
pro
wasn't he?
ready. What's that?
From Arizona, is that where he played?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. So I mean, maybe that, but I like him a lot. He could have easily went the first round to a team like Seattle. I think there was only one guard that I think was that much better than him, and it was that Oklahoma guard. He went pretty early though.
Are you not thinking? Because I think Tyler Booker from Bama.
Booker,
was
yeah,
Oh,
better.
damn,
Bama,
Booker,
yeah,
yeah.
thanks,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think they did end up with a good draft pick there, but then then it was like, oh shit, now we need an outside an outside guy.
Yeah.
Kenneth Grant. They've
Especially
got
because
some-
Tua plays out of the pocket, being a more mobile quarterback. He
Mhm.
throws in the run real well. He plays outside of the pocket. That's where he is.
So
Yeah.
it's weird
Strong
on
suit is.
our lads, which is who we use. It's weird that they don't have Chop Robinson as their starter for the edge.
I see that a lot. They
That's
don't have.
crazy.
They
Really?
don't
Because
put a
he
lot of
was
rookies
a
there.
stud. That's one of the biggest bright spots
Yeah.
that came out last year, I think, from this team.
Hmm.
And I think so. I think their defense is going to hold up. I don't like their secondary, but you can tell what do they got 4 new starters there. So I mean, we don't know. Their secondary last year was not good, but their front 7 was great.
Yeah.
I thought they played really well. And so other than that, I mean, I'd like to put them higher because, like we talked about, they could explode. But how many screens did they run last year? That's what I
Yeah.
want to. How many bubble screens?
Yeah.
And
And
Kel
split
talked about that
screens,
too.
Right.
Yeah.
They only. It's because they're like, hey, look at this. We get the fast guy in the open. And that's why they run screens. So like, just get
Mhm.
the speed in the open,
Yeah.
and it just doesn't work.
Right.
And their offensive line couldn't hold up for a deep pass either. So I kind of see the same thing. And Tua's not going to stay healthy because I don't think they're going to be able to protect him. But they have enough to maybe get what do I got them at? They might be able to get 9 wins, 8 wins, somewhere around there. So
Cool. So we're on to 20.
Hmm.
This is where I have the Chicago Bears. I think I have them higher than both you guys, right?
Mhm.
no, I haven't done them yet.
Oh, you haven't done them yet?
Oh,
Okay, so you have
wow.
them higher.
You
So
do,
I
yeah.
have them higher than Jared. I like the Bears. I was one of the biggest haters of Caleb Williams coming in, and after last year, you could tell he still shouldn't have been the first pick. He definitely wasn't the best last year. I think he's good enough to win them 9 games.
Mhm.
I think they have better coaching staff, like you mentioned. I think it's way better, and all around, I think you're going to see some actual clock management. Like I said, I think they could have won an extra 2 games last year from
Yeah.
clock management. I think they look a little bit better.
Mhm.
So I do think they're going to be. They could maybe even make a push for the wild card round, but I don't know if they're that good yet.
Yeah,
And it's tough division.
it
so.
is. Yeah. Rounding out the top 20 for me is this is where I have the Jets. I think we kind of talked about it when we did the Jets breakdown. Like they
Yep.
might be like the best team on paper, like as far as like who they have on their team, but it never correlates to wins and losses.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I like Garrett Wilson. I think Garrett Wilson was a top 10 receiver for me.
Mhm.
Olu Fasanu was their tackles I think are going to be really good. As Fasanu from last year that he was a first round pick, and then Armand Membu, you talked about him. So their tackle situation, their offensive line situation is better. I like Brees Hall. I think Brees Hall in a different system without Aaron Rodgers is probably going to be better because Aaron Rodgers doesn't like to get under center and hand the ball off anymore. It's kind of like his own system. So I think having Justin Fields there is going to benefit Brees Hall again. I think you're going to kind of see him kind of take that next step where he kind of downgraded last year. I like Braylon Allen too as a backup running back. So that two-headed duo at running back. And then their defense, I still like their defense. I think their defense is going to be really good. Quinnen Williams is still a top defensive tackle. They got Jermaine Johnson on the edge, Will McDonald on the edge. They got Sauce Gardner. And then they re-signed Jamie Sherwood, who was probably one of the top linebacker free agents. So they re-signed him. So the defense that Robert Saleh had the last couple of years is pretty much intact still. You just kind of bring in a little bit defensive more, or a little bit different minded head coach in Aaron Glenn as far as defense goes. But I still like Aaron Glenn as a head coach, defensive coordinator, play caller. So that's why I kind of have him still in the top or bottom half at number 20.
So I'm
Yeah.
really starting to think that you think offense wins champions. You're definitely an offensive minded guy because I feel like every single team is like, I just don't like them offensively, but defense they're on the right path.
Yeah.
With every single
Well,
team's defense is on the right path.
I do like I said, I like their pieces that they have on paper. It's just they've never correlated to
They
like wins
don't
and losses.
gel.
It's weird.
Don't
they,
like their
they haven't.
I don't like their pieces that much.
You don't like them
Like
that
I
much?
said, they're down what 30 for me.
Is that what
Yeah,
you
you had them
at?
pretty
Yeah.
low. Yeah, you
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
them way down
I
there.
But I still remember when we talked about them, like you and I were kind of like, we kind of talked about the same thing on like, the name wise, once you go through like the depth chart, it's like, oh, they got some dudes,
Mhm.
but it's never correlated.
Yeah.
And I think you were, when we did the team episode, you're like, I don't like them at all. So
Yeah, I think
It
they were
doesn't-
extremely overrated last year, and I think they're still a little bit overrated
Yeah.
this year. But everybody's back down to earth now that they don't have Aaron Rodgers.
right.
I think it's funny. The last time they looked halfway competitive was when they had Zach Wilson.
That's true. Yeah.
So it's crazy that
Yeah, and the last
that
time they were
dude's-
good, they had their quarterback run into his lineman and fumble.
Yeah.
That's the last time the Jets were good.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, and we found out that their actual like history is pretty bad during our breakdown too.
Yeah,
Mhm.
the last time the
So-
Jets were a good team, you had Mark Football Sanchez
That's
out
true,
there
yeah.
running into people.
Yep.
Yeah. It doesn't surprise me that you have them at 20 because I know you're a little bit higher on that coach, though. To be honest
Mhm.
with you, but so at 20, I have the Patriots. I like the Patriots here. I like what they've done. I'm in a different. I understand what you're saying about them not sometimes winning free agency doesn't always correlate to winning, but I think that even though I agree with you about their pieces, I still think that this team is going to take a huge step forward. And I mean, it's still Drake May, only a second year, but I do feel like with Josh McDaniels, this team is just. I think they're going to be 8 wins, and if they didn't have the Buffalo Bills here, I would probably say they could run it for this division. That Buffalo Bills is the only team there that I really feel like will sweep them and will
Mhm.
beat them twice. And because I don't feel that comfortable with the Dolphins or the Jets, that's going to do any good against
Yeah.
them. So, yeah, I like the Patriots at 20.
Yeah. Well, blow right into it. We've done this a couple times. I got the Patriots here at 19.
All right.
I mean, I really like Drake May.
Mhm.
I have a couple bucks on him winning the MVP because I think
All
there is a
right.
little bit of
Yeah.
a chance there because I think,
Yep.
I mean, it would have to be a huge breakout year from him, and I don't know
Mhm.
if that's really going to happen, but I do think he is going to be one of those guys.
Yeah.
I think he will develop into a top 10, and I think this might be his first year where he scratches in the top 10.
Yep.
I mean, he's not surrounded by the best weapons. That's really the biggest downfall for them is he not surrounded by the best weapons, but I do think he's a good enough quarterback to will his team to a
Yeah.
playoff.
I think
Possibly.
they, like Brandon said, I think they did right with that coaching staff. I think Vrabel's proven to be a really good head coach. Josh McDaniels has proven to be a really good play caller. So I think they're doing the right thing by surrounding him with the right staff anyway.
Now they just need to get him a damn wide receiver one.
That's true.
Yeah.
Number 19 for me, this is where I have the Raiders. We kind of talked about it during our team breakdown. We were all kind of high on it. I think they made the right decision with Pete Carroll, whether he's 70-some years old, but he's still a really good, I think, CEO head coach to where he doesn't call a side of the ball. So I think that'll be a positive influence for them. With him, we talked about being high on Geno. I like their weapons with Brock Bowers. I like Ashton Genty,
Jacoby Myers.
Jacoby Myers. I really like Jacoby Myers. As soon as Devontae
Mhm.
left, he kind of took off a little bit. So
Yeah.
I like the weapons. I like kind of like what they're doing. I'm not super high on them with being at number 19 still.
If they can have an O-line, they'd be
That's
higher
true,
on
yeah.
all of our lists.
That is
Just
true.
develop
I
Yeah,
agree.
that's it. They're going to need to start playing. And I'm just going to tag team this
No,
one with
yep.
you too because I have them at 19
Okay.
as well. So, no, I totally agree. I think some of these guys that they've got there, maybe they drafted, are going to have to get in there.
Mhm.
Get in there. They're going to take chances on these guys because they did not look good trying to get Ashton Genty going in
Yeah.
their first preseason game. Which it's all fixable, but it's crazy because it was just like I think I texted you guys. I was like, "Well, Raiders are still going to Raider."
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and so I mean, but the pieces are there, man. And I like Jack Besh. I think he had the wide receiver Jack Beck or Besh. I think they were calling it Besh on the broadcast, but I like him as their wide receiver pick in the second round. I think that actually he had some pretty good plays. You know, they drafted 2 offensive linemen that are going to back it up, and you know, so maybe like I said, get them in
Yeah.
there and get that offensive line going. And I think you got a pretty good team there. You know, Max Crosby defense is going to be way improved.
Mhm.
I think with what do they got? 6 new starters.
Yeah,
Is
that's
that
what
what
I'm
you're
reading. Yeah,
showing?
looking right now. Yeah.
So yeah, I like the Raiders there too.
Yeah.
I think you're looking at 9-8,
Cool.
and it doesn't hurt this team and the other teams in the AFC West that Slater's down for the
Yeah.
season too. So
Yeah.
you know, that'll help some of these guys like Max Crosby and all that get around the edge. So
Mhm.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now we're down to the last 2 teams on this episode.
Yeah.
yep,
So yeah, it is going to be a 2-parter. I think it was last year too.
Yep.
It's just takes way too long to go through 32 teams. It's
Right.
a three,
Yeah.
3-hour deal.
we're
now,
already
so-
an hour in, so over an hour in.
Yeah, it's
But
a 3-hour deal, maybe even
Right.
4, depending on how much arguments we have in the top 16.
Yeah.
So that's where it gets fun. But yeah, so we got 2 teams left this episode. In 18, this is where I have the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean,
That's
I
right.
think,
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a year that they finally miss the playoffs under Mike Tomlin, and I think he's getting fired.
Oh wow.
And
Yeah.
I'm super stoked for it. I think he is on the hot seat,
Hot take there, man.
and I think he should be on the hot seat. And I think they're going to miss the playoffs this year, and I think he's going to get fired. Like, what the hell are they doing? Get rid of George Pickens?
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, that was well. I mean, I get the attitude, but yeah, what their moves they're making are kind of weird. I think it's
Yeah.
kind of different.
And
And
I
then
mean, bringing in Jonnu was a big deal.
yeah,
But I mean, you just probably top 15 receiver. You let him go, you trade him away, and then you bring in a good tight end.
Right.
But you give up one of the best pieces holding down your secondary. Of course, they have Joey Porter Jr. still, who's a really good corner.
Yeah.
But they gave up a really good safety for a tight end, and then they still just don't have great QB play.
hmm
They just need to find a solid quarterback. Maybe they should have went after Geno. I think if they brought in Geno, I'd probably have them
yeah, that
an
should
11
have been.
win,
Yeah.
12 win team if they brought in Geno.
Yep.
But I mean, they still don't have a quarterback that's gonna make them a good team. And
And
at this
Aaron
point,
Rodgers,
the blame's got to go to somebody for them
Yeah.
not getting a big quarterback
Mhm.
right now. And for me, it's going towards Tomlin.
even if Aaron Rodgers goes out and throws for 3,500 yards or whatever he did last year again with them, I still think that they probably would have been better off going Sam Darnold, Geno Smith, someone like that that's going to be there for more than a year
Well,
and
he's
isn't
just-
cancer. You
Uh,
know, it's
I
what he
mean,
feels like anymore.
right.
It's just
I'm
like
really
that
almost
tumor.
thinking that maybe Aaron Rodgers is why they got rid of Pickens, because George Pickens has mouth on him too.
Yeah.
And I mean, they just be throwing hands in practice every day.
Yeah.
Right.
We would have seen them fighting on the sidelines this
Right.
weekend. Like,
Yeah. You're gonna have to wait till next episode, but you don't have to wait too long into the next episode for the
Yeah,
Pittsburgh Steelers.
me either. Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. So
Number 18 for me. This might be surprising. You guys might have this team a little bit higher, but this is where I have the Washington Commanders
mhm.
at number 18.
Wow.
As much as I like Jalen Daniels, and I think he's a dude, and they still, if you look at their roster, they still don't have like an overwhelmingly like, I don't know, superstar roster. Like I think Jalen Daniels like willed them to the NFC Championship game last year with how good he played. They're in a contract dispute with their number one wide receiver for some reason. I don't know why you wouldn't just pay the dude
Yeah,
when
just
you're
get
on
him
when you
paid.
got a guy on a rookie contract for your quarterback.
Mhm.
I think we all have the same feelings toward Debo. We liked what he did in San Francisco, but he's got a certain skill set, which I think will be good for Jalen Daniels. I like the Laramie Tunsil trade that they ended up doing. I think he'll be an asset for them at left tackle. But you just kind of look at their defense; they're kind of just running back with their defense with like Bobby Wagner and a lot of these older pieces that they're kind of hoping to take them to the next level. But what kind of gives me pause with their defense is the last two playoff games against the Detroit Lions and the Philadelphia Eagles is they gave up 521 yards to the Lions, which I know they caused a few turnovers, which kind of helped turn that game, but you still gave up 521 yards.
Right.
And then they gave up 459 yards against the Philadelphia Eagles. So their defense kind of gives me pause. That's why I have them down so low. Like I said, I'm high on Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
It's
How
just
do you feel about the guys they brought in to fix their defense?
Von Miller. He kind of fits the mold with what they're doing on defense. He's an older dude. Javon Kinlaw really doesn't do it for me.
Yeah.
They
I
got
think Trey Amos was
Trey-
a draft pick.
yeah, Trey
Other
Amos.
than that,
Yeah.
they didn't do anything to help
No,
their defense.
and they're just old. They got Marshawn Latimer. They still got Mikey Sanders still at their nickelback. They brought back Bobby Wagner. He kind of gives them a certain skill set. Doesn't do much for them in the passing game. So I think that if they do have a downfall this year, I don't want to kind of give out too much on my conference rankings, but I think the defense is going to be their downfall this year. They might be in a lot of shootouts this year.
The only reason I'm okay with you putting them that low is because they lost my favorite guy. They got rid of my favorite guy. They don't have Olamide Zaccheaus
That's
anymore.
true, yeah.
And I mean, they lost a safety guy like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And it was like everything went their way last season. They got all the breaks.
Yeah.
So at 18, that's where we're at, right?
Yep.
This is where I have the Bears.
the
So
Bears.
The
finally,
Bears.
I have them up there this high
Yeah.
more. It's definitely just because I really feel like we got to see what Caleb Williams can do in a lot of games, not all games. I don't think it was his fault they lost. We saw, like we just said, Washington got all the breaks last year, including a bomb downfield that just ended up going
Yeah.
in there
And
against the
Tyrese-
Bears. That game was theirs. They had it, and that just that dude, if he was just paying attention. and I-
Tyreek Stevenson.
And I
Get
think
his shit
that
together.
if I might be wrong by a game or two, but I'm pretty sure that started their skid,
It did. yeah.
right?
did,
And
yeah.
at one point, the NFC North had all winning teams,
Mhm.
and from there on, it was like the Bears just fell off.
And then Matt Eberflus
But-
just doesn't know how to clock manage.
I
And
did
really,
say it.
if they didn't have Tyreek Stevenson and they clock
Mhm.
managed, they were 10-win year.
Yeah,
10
that's
win
true.
team last year.
Yeah. No, totally. And honestly, I think they have a shot at a wild card, but this is such a good division as well.
Mhm.
They made huge improvements across the O line, and that's where that's how I think that Caleb Williams is going to make the best jump there, is because he's going to have time to do stuff. Ben Johnson, you're right though. He might not have time to bring in his offense completely. Might take about half the season, but I do still feel, and I said it during the team one, that I do still feel like Caleb Williams will be their first 4,000-yard passer,
Mhm.
and I think that will happen this year, and if not this year, definitely next year. So, yeah, I like the
Okay.
Bears here, 9-8. That's probably what I'm guessing from them.
Cool. Well, we're on to the last team of this
Yep,
episode.
number 17.
And I mean, when I put this team here, I did not expect it to be controversial at all here, but it turns out it was. Here at number 17, this is where I got the Arizona Cardinals.
Oh, wow, you got them way high.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, the only real downfall I have on him is Kyler Murray.
Mhm.
I think James Conner still, like you said, he is getting
Mhm.
older, but he he runs really hard, and
Yeah.
I think he's still got a year or two left in his gas tank of running really hard and willing this team. That's their red zone threat right now because Kyler Murray can't
Right.
see. I think they will learn from last year, and I think they'll do some more out routes and some boot passes for Trey McBride and get him in
Right.
the end zone more. I think Maserati, like I said, I think it was when he was talking about the Cardinals. I do think Marv will have a big jump year, breakout the year this
Yeah.
year. So I do think they're a playoff team, and biggest thing of why I think they'll be a playoff team is there's just so many question marks in the NFC West right now.
Right.
You're either going to have the best division in football or the worst division in
Yeah.
football.
Yeah.
I agree. It
There's
could
no
be
between
one
for 'em.
team
Yeah.
that comes from there. I totally agree with
That's
that.
true,
That
yeah.
sentiment. Yeah.
For me, rounding out this episode, I have the LA Chargers, and if you would have asked me like a week and a half ago, the Chargers would have been a little bit higher for me. But recent developments, when you lose your starting left tackle that you just paid $130 some million to, is out for the season.
136 or whatever it
Yeah,
was.
it kind of gives me pause. So now what, I think the plan is going to be you're going to switch Joe Alt, who is your right tackle, to left tackle. That's what he played in college at Notre Dame. But then you move Trey Pipkins out to that right tackle. So it's just, I think their offensive line is just in a bad spot right now. They weren't great last year. We found that out in the Houston Texans playoff game.
Right.
So now you're down to an offensive tackle who was one of your better
Look at me.
offensive linemen. I liked Justin Herbert. It's just when you kind of saw when Justin Herbert doesn't have any time and he's getting constant pressure in his face, what he looks like when he throws 4 interceptions in a playoff game. So they brought back Keenan Allen. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I mean that didn't move it too much.
Didn't
Weather
move the
powers
meter, but I get why they did it.
Right.
But
I don't know. I think they're a middle of a pack team right now. I like I said, I would have had them a little bit higher. I like Omarion Hampton. I like the draft pick. I think he's going to do good in this offense. It seems like Jim Harbaugh and Roman, thanks, their offensive coordinator, Greg Roman,
Yeah.
is really good at like scheming up a really good running game. I mean, they've proven that in the NFL. So I think Omarion Hampton's going to do well this year for them. It's just they still don't have great weapons. They still got Ladd McConkey, which I think he kind of exploded last year, but they drafted Trey Harris, so we'll see if he'll do anything good for them. They still got Quentin Johnson, who's
I think he's also dog. He was behind Ted Arroyo, wasn't he?
Trey
Over at
Harris.
Ole Miss.
Was that where he came from? Okay,
I think it was another Ole Miss wide
Hopefully,
receiver. So
yeah.
I think we didn't even get to see how good he really is because he was behind Ted Arroyo. So I think he was actually
Okay.
a really good pick.
Oh, good. Yes, so hopefully he can be another weapon for Justin Herbert. I just think that offensive line, just the way they ended the season and how they're going into the season, is just going to cause them some issues.
Yeah. So Trey Harris was out of Ole Miss, but I know which receiver you're thinking
okay.
of. I know which one you're thinking of. That one who out of Ohio State.
Trey Harris wasn't.
No, he was from Ole Miss.
That's what I'm saying. Ted Arroyo was from Ole Miss too.
Oh, I thought you said Ohio State.
No.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah, Trey Harris was at Ole Miss behind. Ted
Okay,
Arroyo
my bad.
McMillan.
My
Yeah.
bad. My bad. I thought you said Ole Miss. I thought you said Ohio
No.
State, and I'm sitting there going, no, I don't think so.
I'm
but
glad
okay.
you pulled that up though, because I was second guessing myself on whether he actually went to Ole Miss or not. But
No, yeah, that's my
Yeah.
bad. I for
No,
some
you're
reason
good.
I was thinking Ohio State. I was like, no, I don't think so, man. But
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about somebody else.
Yep, he sat behind Ted Arroyo, so I don't think you've seen his full skill set and
Yeah.
what he's fully capable of.
All right, so here at 17 to finish us off here, I have actually probably surprisingly the Bucks. I know they played really well. But I just don't like their their defense fully. I think they're going to give up a lot of points.
You have the Bucks that low.
Yeah,
That
I
is
still think they're going to
outrageous.
win the NFC South.
That is outrageous.
You guys have them.
I got them high.
I thought
I got them pretty high.
I was
Yeah.
the one low on the Bucks here.
I got them pretty high.
I think that I like their offense. I just think they're going to give up a lot of points still, and I think you see games last year where they just fell off. I mean, I think against the Commanders in the first round of the playoffs, you were still like, okay, I think they had a chance to win that game, and they couldn't do it.
Mhm.
And honestly, I still felt like that they had a better team last year than what the Commanders did. I just don't think that they got it all together still. I was going to look up. There was something. I knew I was going to probably catch some slack because I do have them kind of down. I really like the Baker Mayfield evolution, though. I really do. I love Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. I love that. There was that.
Mecca Buka, man. They picked up a Mecca Buka.
Mecca Buka. Buka, however the hell that's it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Is that the
first
Ohio
round,
State
yeah.
guy?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's the Ohio State guy.
Yeah.
And Tez Johnson. I know he was only 7th-round draft pick, but I feel like I've heard his name a lot,
Yeah.
especially for a
was-
7th-round draft.
Yeah.
That safety, no cornerback, yeah, Benjamin Morris. When we,
Oh yeah,
you
from
know,
Notre Dame. Yeah.
yeah, I like him a lot on that defense, but I don't think they did enough there. I don't think they addressed it. I think Levante David's getting a little bit old. He can still move. He's still a great player, but I don't know. Hassan Reddick, he hasn't really showed up, man. And I think they brought him in thinking he was going to be their guy to get him to the, get to the quarterback, but he really hasn't been that great stat wise. And maybe they'll change there, but I like Vita Vea. There's a couple of pieces, but overall, I still think they're going to give up a lot of
Well,
points.
and they have Deion Jones, who I think is a very viable backup for Levante David.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I had him down a little bit lower than what I thought you guys would anyway. But yeah, that rounds out our 17. So we ran this one long. We're an hour and a half in. But I love the discussions about this, and it is kind of funny because we had some that were like far apart.
Yeah,
I just want to say they got some crazy ass names on that roster. Though.
Yeah.
Mekhi Vaga, Yaya Diaby.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. And catch us with the next one. We're going to be doing 16-1. So that'll be a fun one. I'm sure that'll want to run pretty long too, because these are some good arguments we're having, some good discussions. And yeah, anybody else signing off? Yeah, we're going to get the dog some air too. If you guys hear that, she's hot as hell in this room. So, all right. We'll catch you guys later.